Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Fitness Philosopher podcast. This is your host, as always, Adam Fisher. It's been a while since our last one, and this is going to be our first one of the new year, the first one of 2016, so welcome back. I've been hard at work trying to get the book written. It's slow going, largely because it is going to be pretty big. It's a book about debunking a lot of myths in the fitness industry, and that takes effort. There's a lot of them out there, so hopefully I'll have that done for you guys pretty soon, within the next couple months or so, and then we can get back to having more regular podcasts. In the meantime, this podcast, I wanted to focus on the topic of sleep, because sleep is a super, super important thing that a lot of people don't really seem to think about in their training. A lot of people say, okay, well, what can I do for recovery? Can I do more foam rolling, or should I stretch, or should I eat certain foods, or X or Y or Z, overlooking the fact that the single most important factor that we have for recovery is sleep. And sleep is when our body repairs and improves. That's when all that is happening. Most of our recovery occurs during sleep. Sure, some of it occurs during the day while we're moving around, but the vast majority of it occurs during sleep. And more sleep is always better. Getting more sleep increases performance, and it doesn't even have to be much. Like an additional half hour, an hour a day can make a huge difference. So here's a study that kind of lays bare what sleep does for you and why insufficient sleep is a bad thing for you. So the study is called "Insufficient Sleep Undermines Dietary Efforts to Reduce Adiposity." Adiposity being, of course, fat tissue. So basically, this is saying that sleep undermines your effort to lose weight by dieting. So in the study, participants were given similar level of calories, about 700 under maintenance, and which is a good calorie deficit, not huge, but enough to get some results. And they separated the participants into two sleep groups. One was getting 8.5 hours of sleep per night, and one was getting 5.5 hours of sleep per night. Now, of course, neither group got exactly that amount of sleep. Typically, 8.5 and 5.5 were the amount of hours that they were allowed to be in their bed, and so it might take them a little bit longer to fall asleep in some cases, and so they'll get a little bit less than that actual number. But of course, the 8.5 hour sleep people actually typically got more like 7.5 hours of sleep because they were more rested, so they didn't feel like they needed to sleep as much, so it took them a little bit longer to fall asleep. Whereas the 5.5 hour group actually fell asleep pretty quickly, on average within 15 minutes, got about 5.25. So you can see that, because they were more tired, they did fall asleep more quickly. So here's the interesting thing that happened. Both groups experienced really similar weight loss, but of the two, the heavy sleepers maintained a much greater proportion of lean tissue, while the light sleepers mostly lost lean tissue while keeping a lot of fat. So the heavy sleepers lost about 50-50 fat and lean tissue, which is it's a good proportion. But the thing is that the light sleepers, they typically lost about 80% lean tissue and about 20% fat. That's a huge, massive, massive difference. And that was basically determined entirely by how much sleep they got. So what we're seeing is that both groups lost the same amount of weight, but one group, which is the light sleeping group, is going to maintain a lot more fat in the process. They're not going to be nearly as lean, and of course their metabolisms are going to go down, even more rather than going up like you would hope, or not going up, but maintaining closer to their previous amount. Because with less lean tissue, that means even less metabolism. So additionally, the light sleepers felt hungrier throughout the day, even though they were, consuming the same amount of calories relative to their maintenance intake as the heavy sleepers. So the main drawback of the study that we can see is that these were sedentary individuals. So this had nothing to do with exercise, and additionally, they had very low protein intake per day on average. And we know that both of these factors will increase the percentage of lean tissue that you're keeping while you're losing weight. So basically, if you're getting higher protein, that means that you are able to build more muscle, and that means that you are keeping more of your lean tissue versus your fat tissue when you diet down. Additionally, when you're exercising more, that's helping you maintain more muscle tissue as well, so that you're not, again, losing a crap ton of muscle tissue instead of fat. So it is possible that these percentages would change, somewhat, not, super dramatically, but basically you would expect to see both groups, if exercise were added, to maintain a bit more lean tissue. So you'd expect to see more lean tissue kept in both groups. But again, it's extremely unlikely that just exercise and protein alone would make up for the light sleepers group, which got around, again, 80% lean tissue loss. It's unlikely to expect that we could knock that entirely down to a reasonable level with just protein and exercise alone. So likewise, just in terms of what sleep does for you and doesn't do for you, basically, lack of sleep has anti-anabolic and catabolic effects, which means you're decreasing your production of testosterone and IGF-1, which are the two most important hormones you have for building muscle and strength. And it can elevate your cortisol levels. Cortisol is associated with high stress, and it can cause numerous issues within the body, including, of course, muscle loss in the long term. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're sleeping, because sleep basically means a much better hormonal profile, so that you can maintain much more lean tissue and lose much more fat tissue in a diet. And additionally, of course, even when you're bulking, even when you're maintaining, again, these elevated levels of testosterone and IGF-1 and decreased cortisol levels relative to what you would see with a lack of sleep, that is what you are aiming for. You want to have, basically you want to have those numbers as high as you can, the testosterone and IGF-1. You want to have those cortisol numbers as low as you can, so that you can see that you're getting the most out of your exercise and your diet and, whatever it is that your fitness goals are. So sleep should be the first step when it comes to maximizing your recovery. Again, if you're asking all sorts of questions about whether or not you should be doing whatever recovery technique, should I be foam rolling? Should I be stretching? Should I be getting massages, etc.? If your sleep isn't in line, then you're doing it wrong. You're asking the wrong questions. The first thing to focus on is your sleep. And I would say that the second thing to focus on is your diet. And after that, you can start worrying about, all sorts of other stuff. So what's the practical takeaway of this? If you are doing a heavy training cycle, you would obviously want to aim to get more sleep than you are normally, whatever amount that might be. Now, you might ask, what is the ideal level of sleep for me? I can't tell you that. Basically, the ideal level of sleep is going to vary from person to person. That's genetic. There are, genetic factors that determine basically how much sleep your body needs on average. And basically, as long as you are not tired, as long as you're getting a full night's sleep, then you should be fine. And of course, you can always add more. I recommend taking naps throughout the day. Naps are an amazing way to make sure that you are staying, basically rested throughout the day, to make sure that you are seeing. There's lots of positive results that we've seen in studies from napping. So napping is a great thing too, and it doesn't have to be forever. A half hour, 45-minute nap alone can be a great way to sort of just break up the monotony of your day and get you rested and ready to go. Of course, not everyone naps easily. Some people, it takes them a while to fall asleep. So you might not be able to nap within, sort of an efficient amount of time. It may be that the way your day is set up, you simply don't have time to take a nap, at a reasonable time, and that's okay too. The unfortunate thing is that for many people, getting more sleep is an unfortunate impossibility. Many people work really long hours at jobs, and they really can't get more than a few hours of sleep. And that's rough, because there's not really too much that you can do about that. It would be really ignorant of me simply to suggest that people should get different jobs, because everyone is different, and what job you have, whatever your situation is, I can't speak for your ability to find a different job or do something else. However, I will say that if you have that kind of job, you should be aware of the kind of toll that lack of sleep is taking on your body. Sure, you can fake it with caffeine and other stimulants, but long term, you are sacrificing your health and you're sacrificing everything for this job. And so I would recommend that if you do find yourself in that kind of situation, you really should find a different job or make some effort to find something else. Again, I don't want to be ignorant. I don't want to say, I don't want to call you weak or stupid or anything like that for not having a job that lets you sleep in as much as you want. Again, everyone is different, and some people just have jobs that suck, and there's not much they can do about it. They can't really get another job or anything like that. But again, I would recommend that if you do have that power, to look for another job. And just some practical tips: if you do find yourself in a lower sleep state, it may not be a good idea to take on heavy training. Additionally, since training itself is a stressor, and it's a stressor that your body becomes used to over time, and which can become pleasurable and good, and basically gets your body used to that stress and more prepared for handling more stress in the future, and that's great. But it can be a stressor, and if you're already in a high stress environment, if you're already working a lot or getting very little sleep, it could be a stressor that's just a little bit too much. You might be getting to the point where you are not really seeing much of any positive result from exercise or from dieting, or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve fitness wise. So I would recommend that if you are in that kind of situation, you focus more on maintenance, getting fewer workouts per week, even just 2 or 3 workouts per week, very light. Keep your diet a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more conservative, I guess. And you can understand that you can still achieve whatever goals you're looking for, but it will require more work. It will require more effort. It will require feeling like crap. It will require sacrificing long-term health, possibly. So that is not something that I recommend. So I do recommend, of course, that you try and get as much sleep as you can, simply because sleep is the single biggest thing you can do to improve your recovery, to improve your hormone levels, and just to make sure that you are healthy as you can be. So that's it for today. Maybe a little bit shorter than our past podcasts. I just wanted to get this topic out there because it's a topic that I've been thinking about for a little while, and hopefully it helps you guys as well. So thanks for listening, and as always, I will see you guys next time. Hi everyone, Adam here again. I really hope that you've enjoyed this week's podcast. Here at Philosopher Warrior, I am all about body positive fitness. To me, that means learning to be strong and healthy and happy in your body without having to worry about losing weight or fitting into societal standards of what beauty should be. If you like what I do here, I would absolutely love it if you could support me in any way possible. After all, making content is difficult, and making and editing a podcast can often take 5 or more hours just to get you guys a half hour of free content. So here are a few ways that you can do that thing. First, check out my blog at www.gains.af, that is GAINS.af, which is packed full of plenty more free posts for those of you who are more into reading words and stuff. You can also sign up for the mailing list. This means that you're getting alerted to all the newest content as it's released. Along with that, you get a free copy of the Gains ebook, which contains a 12-week program designed to help beginners get stronger, bigger, and more durable. The book also comes with a 12-week mailing program designed to educate you on many of the basic principles underlying good training. So it's great for beginners looking to learn a lot more about how to train as well. Second thing you can do, you can purchase my ebooks, also through www.gains.af. Aside from the free Gains ebook, you can also find my first ebook, The Uplift Method, which lays out my exercise philosophy and explores what I think about mind-body exercise and how it's crucial to any good exercise program, even though I have some, pretty big criticisms of it. For those interested in fantasy stuff, I'm also a huge fantasy nerd. I have a novella about vampires that I wrote a while back, and you should check that out. It is short, it is cheap, and it is awesome. Third and last thing you can do, you can support me with a small monthly donation through the Gains Patreon at www.patreon.com/gains. You can also find that through the gains.af site. At just $1 a month, you can get a copy of the Gains ebook and access to the Gains Facebook community. At $10, you get a copy of Uplift, again, that is the Uplift Method, as well. At $25, you get a t-shirt. At $60, you get access to semi-personalized group coaching. So I will be writing programs for you and a bunch of other people at the same time, and you get some other stuff with that as well. At $100, you can get fully customized individual coaching. That is right, I will write your programs for you and keep on you regularly to see how it's going via email or text. So, above all, if you like the content, please share. Let people know about the good news of intersectional body positive fitness and direct them our way. You can subscribe to the podcast through iTunes. If you ever want to reach out to me, my email is
ae.fisher.gaines@gmail.com. If you want to hear about a particular topic, let me know. Reach out to me and I'll share what knowledge I have. Hey, guess what? You're awesome, and thank you.